Hello and welcome to another episode. It's going to be quite short today. So, welcome to my channel. My name is Jose. Today, I just wanted to talk simply about the sun. The sun sign astrology is what some people have called it. But really, what it is for those who don't know yet, it is ego. Um, But there are other parts in the charts in astrology where you look up the ego. Like for example, the 10th house is ego. The first house is also ego. It's the development of the ego. 10th house is about the how you perceive yourself based on how people assess you. So it's reputation. But the point is, when it comes to the ego itself, right? The reason we have the ego is because it wants to shine. Now, shining can happen unconsciously or consciously. So unconsciously means that it just wants validation, or rather, it is till as children between the ages of 0 and 7 or 8, we want to just we want to shine. We want to experience the world in a way that feels natural to us. But what happens is when there's conditioning and the parents kind of tell us like, don't do this, don't do that, or that they invalidate also the emotions we go through. What happens to the ego? It starts to become unconscious, right? Or rather, I would say as a child, it's more of a subconscious thing, and then it becomes unconscious because it happens continuously, which is actually funny because it's like unconscious is ruled by the sixth house in astrology. The 12th house is subconscious, which makes sense. If you look at the 12th house, it transitions to the first house. While the ego is developing the first house, it's carried over habits or subconscious behaviors from the 12th house. So when you look at someone's chart, you look at your own chart also, it's the same thing. Okay, so validation. Why is that important? Well, because that's what we really want. Validation means we just want to be accepted, right? So I actually wrote down some notes here. This came to me like last week. I forgot why I wrote this. It came to me, it's down. So when a person is in pain, they just want someone to actually listen. That is, just be there. Just be. Now, I remember my dad, he would often give me advice when I didn't ask for it, especially growing up where it's just like he never really was there to listen. My mom's like more of the listener, although I wasn't really sure if she was really listening or anything like that. But the point is that's that story, right? So I kept telling my dad before, I just said, I just want you to be there. Stop giving me comments and stop giving me advice and all that stuff. I didn't like it because he wasn't listening. He was just there. And it's like, when you're listening to someone in order to give advice, that's not listening. That's not being present. That's not being there. Um, and but through presence and being in the present moment and just really being in that moment when there's silences, your attention goes towards not only what you're hearing, but also what you're feeling in your body and how that correlates, how that's connected. So, um, in my experience, yeah, no advice given, no comments made, no thoughts processed, no solutions given. Because we have this idea that it needs to be solved, things need to be solved. Why? Because there's a perception that there is a problem. When we make a problem out of something, it creates more problems. And people might not believe that. People with a lot of ego, even spiritual ego, will say, "Well, I want to solve it because it doesn't feel comfortable." Where does that come from? Because it comes from this idea that we, as children, as between the age of 0 and 7 or 8, we were told not to process the emotion, to let it pass. Like when a river is passing, do you stop the river from flowing? Do you stop things from growing? When you do, what happens? You destroy the process. That's exactly what's been happening to us as children for thousands of years. We are being told this is not processed. You cannot process your emotions. You're not allowed to have those emotions. I will take those from you. So there's no option but for the child, but to give away that power, right? So, but there are many people there who still resistant to that, and I've seen it, and it's just like, okay. So the answer is to be present, to be present. to be present. Because the more we add solution to the problems, the more we reinforce that belief that a problem has to exist, therefore a solution has to exist. But what if there was no problem and you just let it pass? When I say problem, I don't mean the physical ones because it starts from inner core stuff. How else do you think manifested problems or manifest problems are manifested? How do you think physical material problems are manifested? Because it stems from a deeper manifestation, a deeper conditioning, a deeper processed or rather deprocessed or conditioned, unprocessed behavior. And we do it subconsciously. We're so good at it, we don't even realize that we're doing it. So that's where the sun is involved, at least astrologically speaking. You figure out what sign it's in. My sun sign is in Libra. It's conjunct Pluto, but it's also trine Moon. So there are several things that it's opposite. It's also square of other things like Ceres, for example. So when it came to my specific ego, I remember when I was a child, I always wanted to be in control, always in control, like two other fucking multiverses and back control. That's how intense it was. And it just affected my health. And it was just like I was always stressed and it created a lot of problems with the heart, specifically like bowel movements. I used to control it so much. I would literally like it wreaked a lot of havoc with my health. It still kind of is happening a little bit today where it's just, triggered a lot by the pandemic because Pluto's rules pandemics, or viruses and bacteria and fungi and all that stuff. So not to be a downer on this one, but really what it is, that's true. We can't always be ooh, doo, doo, you hold our hands, kumbaya. It can't always be like that. We cannot go forward into the positive unless we acknowledge and learn from the negative. We cannot, otherwise it's false positive. It's false positive. That doesn't make sense. Battery doesn't work without both positive and negative polarities. You have to have that. Especially as humans, we need to have the polarity so that we can come back to wholeness. Now, this for those who are new to this video, you're probably wondering, where the hell is that coming from? Look it up. It's everywhere. It's called shadow work. Well, one of the modalities is called shadow work. The point is not about the modality. The point is not about methodology. The point is, do you want healing? Do you want to find something that works for you? With astrology, I feel for me, it has helped me a lot. I'm not promoting astrology per se, like, oh, do this, all this stuff. But I'm saying when it comes to the process of healing, the fact that we even have something to heal means that there's this belief that there is something to heal. But that's okay because we're not here to necessarily say, or create problems or not have problems. They exist for a reason, and that's to learn from them, right? Learning is growth. Growth is equal to expansion. The universe, when the universe discovered itself, an identity was created. It's like there's an awareness of I. All of a sudden, there's just, oh my goodness. So where am I going from here? Because all it knows is this one. So it's almost like it's contained but it doesn't realize that it's already perfect. When there is nothingness, when there is just no attachment, there's no identification, it knows to be just perfect. It's empty. It's nothing. So therefore, once identity was created, how do we go from there? As what's her name? One from South Africa. She's really awesome. Carrie, I think that's her name. She said it's like the perfect chocolate cake or whatever you want to call it. Perfect food, whatever, perfect ball, perfect, whatever. It's already perfect. But in order to grow, you need to take away the ingredients from that and separate it. That's the analogy she used for that. So it's basically the same thing. It's like the universe expanding. It needs to defragment or it needs to fragment in order for it to realize, oh, okay. So because there's this belief that it's like, it's separate. once identity is created, there's these separations of identities. But really what it is just part of the puzzle itself. Our goal is to return to that. But in order to expand even more, we need to learn. We need to have an experience of learning, actual, genuine learning of our experiences. That means having polarity. Okay. So, anyways, that's tied to the sun. So you'll see it in your charts, the sun. This is very simple stuff, astrologically speaking. Um, right? So I actually added some stuff here that I kind of wanted to say something to. When the sun finds its own solutions, its process, its healing, that is through awareness and acknowledgement of its own, it begins to see the power within, the power that emotions and eventually stories that pass, right? Like an actual story. And it remembers that it's okay. Then that its beingness is powerful enough to move past all the emotions and stories, not to ignore it, but to see that, like water, fire, and all things, including physical life, they are temporary. So this takes practice. So our sun is actually young. So now okay, this is why I now understand. If you look at our sun, I was watching this documentary. Talking about how certain suns, like the red giants, are really like old. Our sun, actually, there's red giants that are young, but our sun is actually also young, right? So our sun is actually young. Thus, our realm of existence is young. So what I mean by this is that when I was writing this, I remember that it's, how do I explain this? Um, we're still learning, but we're here to grow, basically, right? Because our sun is young. Our sun is a representation of um our sun is a representation of what is this one? Of yeah, our ego, our collective ego, right? So learning is of its wholeness, beingness, and source connection and power. Eventually, it will remember, right? So because it's young, it's not knowing of its connection, right? When I say young, I mean like young, yes, but also like, sorry, just a little way too esoteric to explain. Um, when I say young, I mean that it's in this process of there's a lot to learn. Let's just put it that way, right? And that's okay. That's what we're here for. So, anyways, that's my point about this whole video. When it comes to the ego, it really just wants to share, like the sun that wants to beam its light into an entire solar system. So allow yourself to share. Allow yourself to share with the world, right? There will be challenges, there will be obstacles, so to speak. But if we don't see it as obstacles, but rather as lessons and signs of like, okay, I think I know why I'm attracting this one, because if I didn't, then how would I learn? Like shadow work is tied to this. Anyways, so I just wanted to share this one quick video about how the ego just wants to share. It's the sun. I mean, basic astrology stuff, but it is tied to all this stuff. So I hope that was a bit helpful. Let me know how it goes. I just wanted to share. Thank you for watching again. Like and subscribe if you want to, when you want to, however you like to. Comment down below as well. Thank you. Wow, simple. Okay. See you later, and I will see you later. Bye.